So, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the 2022 NFL Super Wildcard Weekend Sunday games from 15th of January 2022. Or 2023, excuse me, 2022. 2023. But the 2022-23 season. So, my thoughts were, the first game was Dallas, or, not Dallas, but it's the Miami Dolphins, 17 AFC, taking on the 2-seed Buffalo Bills. And this is another divisional rematch, the second divisional rematch of the playoffs in the NFL. They already played each other twice in the regular season as their AFC East opponents, the Bills. When they played one time with Tua, I'm pretty sure they did, and one time maybe with like Teddy or Skylar or something like that. And you know, it was close. I was surprised. I thought it might be, Teddy and Tua have been playing okay. They've been playing kind of average football, but especially Teddy. Teddy's been playing okay. He was decent when he was with the Vikings, but then he's been off and on as like a backup. He's been kind of iffy though. He hasn't been playing the greatest. Skylar, might be playing a little iffy, but he's been playing decent. But he's been a little decent. But I was more surprised because it was close the whole way through. And I thought, okay, it might go to overtime. It might be an overtime game. And the NFL did delay the start of the game. But if it went to overtime, they wouldn't delay too much. But if it went into overtime, then they probably wouldn't delay it. But they ended up delaying it 3 minutes. Just because of that. And it did pay off. There's a little extended overlap, but not much. But it did pay off as the Bills won just barely, 34-31. It was just barely won. But it was close. It was close on the line. It was pretty exciting. The Bills took out that big lead. And then the Dolphins, came back and pressed. It was impressive, And then I gotta give credit to the Miami Dolphins, for having the season they had. Kind of ups and downs without Tua. Maybe Tua might come back next season. We'll see if Tua plays. The only problem is he's had concussions, and he may not play. He might not play, but we'll see what his doctors say and everything, and if he plays next season. Because they were doing good with him last season, with him in there. So we'll see how they end up doing with Tua in. And then is the second game. That was noon or 1 Eastern on CBS with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo and Tracy Wolfson. And that was on CBS and Paramount Plus. Their streaming service. CBS. You can have CBS if you pay for the second tier. The next game was on Fox. It was at it was supposed to be at 4:30 Eastern, but got moved to 4:50 Eastern. It was a decent game. It was a good game. Like the Vikings struck first. Then they punted a few times. And then the Giants scored one more time after a punt. And they ended up, the Vikings ended up scoring, making it 17. They held the Giants to another field goal. And they ended up punting. And then the Vikings punted twice. It was 17-14 at halftime. But then, it was kind of up and down, back and forth, punts, outs, stuff like that. And then, it ended up being, down the last play of the game. And it was kind of But, I thought the Vikings might win close. By maybe 2 to 5 points, 4 or 5 points. 2 to 5, I'd say. But no, they didn't. They ended up losing by 7. Which is if you're a Vikings fan, you're not really surprising. Not really surprising. But I'm kind of surprised, though. They were so good in one-score games this season, in the regular season, that I thought it might pay off. But they're, you know, it might actually help them in the playoffs. But nope. And both quarterbacks played flawless. They actually did play pretty well. Both teams did. It was just that basically what won the game was the Giants' defense. Forced the punts in the first half. 2 punts in the first half. And that's what won the game. Even if they could have got 3 of them, it may have been and then the call was 3rd and 1. And it was like 2nd and 4 or something like that. And it looked like a first down. But then it got changed like 3rd inches, and it derailed momentum. I think it derailed the Vikings momentum as well. That's what I think too, but yeah, because they had it and they got taken away. It sucked life for them a little bit. Well, I think that hurt them too. So, but oh well. I guess nothing you can do though. That was the only upset of this super wild card weekend. Really. That was a kind of an upset though, because they were favored though. In like Vegas by like 2.5 or something like that. Just barely, but I knew it was gonna be I could have said it was gonna be close, but they lose. A little shocked, but not too surprising, but it is kind of shocking though that it came down like they had it. They could have had it overtime or something. Oh well. And then this one, the last game, it was Ravens at Bengals, and by the way, Giants versus Vikings had Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olsen, and Aaron Andrews on the call of that one. And then the 8:15 nightcap on Sunday Football had Mike Tirico, Tony Dungy, or Mike Tirico and Chris Calder, not Tony Dungy, had a typical Sunday Football crew. They're not like two Amazon Prime announcers like Keely Harton and Al Michaels. Al Michaels kept the job with NBC just for this wildcard game. If they happen to have 2 for wildcard games or divisional round games, and stuff like that. But they'd have 2 wildcard games regardless. But maybe if they had the second divisional one, maybe the year they're hosting the Super Bowl, something like that. But anyways, that game was actually pretty good. It was like the first half. I thought first quarter a little bit. I thought Bengals might win this game. They took it kind of slow and steady in the first little bit, and there was like turnover, interception, and then they touchdown and missed extra point. I thought, okay, Bengals got this. Come out to big lead, and it was AFC North opponents. Valley shootout. It was the 3rd time of the year they played. Just last week with their third string quarterback, and they played with Lamar one time in the regular season, and they played one game with their 3rd string strike. The Ravens didn't know Tyler Huntley, and some of their backups were some starters and backups were out because of rest. So it wasn't like a true game plan. It wasn't like a true test. And they came out firing afterwards. They ran the ball, did what they were supposed to do, did what they were used to doing, and actually took a lot of time off in the first half. But then the second half, things got interesting. And what won them the game was a 98-yard fumble recovery touchdown. That's right. Tyler Huntley had sneaked it from like the 1-2 yard line, about the 2 yard line, about the, like the one. I'd say probably about the 1 to 2. Hard to tell. Can't remember, but and he sneaked it. And instead of doing like the sneak nowadays where you can push the quarterback, or your own like receiver, or your own like players can push the quarterback. And usually they have like the running back. Usually they have like running back or maybe a wide receiver, if anything. Like, or maybe like maybe like both running backs in, and they'll push the quarterback. But they didn't. It wasn't really like that. And they went kind of high to try to like push over, like the ball was extended over like the end line, but it was kind of high. And that was a lot of risk for a fumble. The risk you take to a fumble. And that play, it didn't pay off. It should have been like a tackle. But yeah, not being a tackle, ended up being like a big long run after like the Ravens defense actually did some nice blocking on the offense. The players tried to tackle him. Went on the attack on the return. And that ended up costing them the game. But they had a shot at the end, like last play of the game. He got rushed backwards, and they ended up throwing it, and it got tipped by the Bengals. Because if the Bengals guy didn't tip it, like the defender didn't tip it, at number 3 for the Baltimore Ravens could have caught that cleanly. But even so, it was on his fingertips, and he could have reeled in like a good highlight catch. Not like a super spectacular highlight catch, but a nice little highlight catch for the touchdown and then the extra point. And probably obviously they probably would have kicked the extra point with like Justin Tucker, and instead of going for 2, but it's because especially these no overtime rules, they would have gone for 2 most likely. But yeah, they've gone for 1 with the new overtime rules. They've just gone for 1 instead of 1 for 2, and it paid up, and it was just like that close. We would have a first overtime game of the playoffs with the new playoff overtime rules, which are both teams get a chance to possess the football in playoff overtime. In regular season overtime, because games can end in a tie with a 10-minute overtime clock shortened down, probably, so games are like the early window games, and then the second window games, most games, like some might overlap each other. There's some that still do, even so, for like the most of the country can see, but they don't want like a 15-minute overtime game. Say like it starts at, say like, if you have like a game that ends like pretty late, like 3:30, 3:40. I've seen games like that where they end, where they're over, or they're like end kind of late, and you're like, huh? And they have overtime, and they end like 4:15. You didn't want a game that overlapped to like, if it was a single window on one channel, it might not matter, but if it's like the doubleheader on the same window, like you're seeing most of the first game, everyone's seen an overtime game, and the second window game is like, most people aren't seeing like the second window games, unless you're like watching a game in your local area. It's your local teams, or something like that. But yeah, both teams now the regulation overtime in playoffs. Both teams have the opportunity to possess the football with a 15-minute clock, and it would just be like regular it would be just like the restart of the game, like normally, like 15-minute clock, 3 timeouts, or unless they do the 2 timeouts thing, and both teams have the ability to possess the football, and it goes, But they probably do 3 timeouts. So, but maybe not. I don't know. They at least do 2 timeouts like they do for the 10-minute overtime. And then they would do both teams get the ball. And even if the first team scores a touchdown, it's not over yet. The second team has the ability to score a touchdown. And if both teams score like either a field goal or a touchdown or a safety, or both teams get safeties, score safeties on their possessions. But safety actually would make, actually a safety would make it game over though, because then the other team would get the ball back. The team that gave up scored the safety, would actually get the ball. So that would be game over there. But with a touchdown, or if both teams got a touchdown, both teams got a field goal, it would be game. It would be sudden death overtime, and you could see like overtime games go like pretty long, like maybe possibly there's like one overtime, maybe even 2 overtimes. There has been overtime rules, or even back when like you only need a field goal to win, and the first team to score a field goal even, because you should have a lot of overtime games have just a field goal. You can win with just a field goal, and I can understand that the game's getting like kind of boring. Like hey, you get a big play. Hey, instead of going for a touchdown, you have a really good kicker. Well, we just kick the field goal right away. And they kick a field goal, like 2 plays, kick a field goal. Maybe a couple big plays sometimes, kick a field goal. Like third down, like say second down, kick the field goal, and win the game. But instead, this way, you can't like kick the field goal. You have to score a touchdown. It makes it more interesting, which I like. These games, sometimes you have the possibility of both teams scoring the first possession, and then both teams can have a little lull. You can have like 1 overtime, maybe even 2 overtime games. I could see that possibly happening. So, but anyways, thanks and take care. Sorry, I got a long minute, but here's my thoughts on Super Hardcore Weekend. See you.